Hello. So we are here in my kitchen today. We are going to talk about tea. So first of all, what is tea? Well, tea is the second most common beverage next to water. Um, and there's a few things that you may not know about tea. When we use the word tea, we are actually referring to a very specific infusion of a very specific plant, that is the Camellia sinensis plant. When you hear things like green tea or black tea or white tea, all of those are different levels of processing of the leaves of the Camellia sinensis plant. And you'll see over here I have several different types of those teas. We'll get to them in a minute. Now, when we're using an herb to make a tea, what we are actually making is called an infusion. Now, an infusion is a preparation made from the leaves and flowers of a plant. I have several of those right here. And then finally, if we're using the bark or the root of a plant, we're going to make something called a decoction. And over here you can see I have a couple of things as well. So let's go back to this tea category here real quick. I have a few different types here. I have a few black teas. This is black tea with English breakfast tea, Earl Grey, Lady Grey, and Irish breakfast tea. And these are black teas, and they usually have some type of flavoring added to them, orange or bergamot, depending on what they are. I also have just a basic green tea in bags. And I have this. This is matcha green tea. And it is actually a powder. You can see inside it, you can see the powder in there. And you actually, instead of using like a tea ball or a tea bag, you mix this right in with your water, or sometimes I like to use milk as well. I have another just basic black tea. You can use this to make hot tea. You can use this to make iced tea. It just depends. I actually have used this to make kombucha too as well. So some of these are in bags. This is powder. You can also get black teas or any tea from True Tea in a loose tea form as well. And this smells really, really good. All right, so this has black tea with bergamot in it. Now let's talk about infusion. So when we are making an infusion, we're making preparation that is made from either leaves or flowers of an herb or a plant. I have a few here. I have lavender, very popular chamomile. Let's see. I've got, let's talk about this one, peppermint, sleepy time tea, which is one of the favorites of my childhood. I have rooibos tea, which is actually made from an African plant, kind of interesting plant. Then I also have this fruit tea sampler that I often give to my kids when they have snacks. It's got all sorts of things in it. Hibiscus, rose hips, chicory, orange peel, blackberry leaves, hawthorn, on and on and on. So all kinds of different herbs in this. And anything we would make from this category here would be called an infusion. Now let's move over here to decoctions. So if you want to use the bark or the root of a plant, you're going to make what is called a decoction. You're dealing with a rougher material. It takes longer to get the desired flavor and the desired strength from a root. So whereas with all of these over here, you might just bring your water to boil and then use it to make your tea, and probably only steep it for maybe 3 to 5 minutes tops. With this, you're going to want to boil your water, possibly, these are actually tea bags, possibly even boil your tea bags in the water, or boil your root, this is ginger root, in the water. And you're going to want to leave it for a lot longer than you're going to leave these. If you think you're going to make some ginger tea, one of my favorites is ginger, lemon, and honey tea. And if you think you're going to make that ginger tea from that ginger root, you're going to come back in 5 minutes and it's going to be ready just like you would a bag tea. You're going to be sorely disappointed. You're going to get a mouthful of hot water and it's not going to be very good. So a little different here. You're going to boil your water. With these guys, you're going to just bring the water to boiling and then you're going to put the water over your tea bag or your tea ball or whatever you have, whatever you're using. So that's just a little bit about different kinds of teas or different kinds of herbal preparations using plant material and decoctions using roots or bark. So let's go ahead. Let's look at making 3 different kinds of tea. So we are going to make 3 different teas today. We are going to make one using loose leaf black tea. We are going to make one using a tea bag. And we are going to make an herb tea using a tea bag today. We're not going to do a decoction today. I'm going to save that for another video. But you'll see in front of me I have a couple of teapots and then I have 3 different teacups. This is one that I use generally for special occasions. Probably one of my favorite sets. This is the one that my children and I use every day. This is one that I had imported from the Middle East many, many years ago, and this is actually the very last cup in this set. It's my favorite, and I generally try to protect it as much as possible. But I'm going to show you how to serve tea, and this is a chai glass. We call this a chai glass. So I'm going to show you how to serve your tea in a chai glass. We're going to make an herbal tea with just the tea bag in this glass, and then we're going to serve our loose leaf tea in our little fancier cup. So you'll see by all of these, there's little spoons. These two are the same. This one's a little different. These are called demi-tasse spoons, and they are made specifically for tea. And so let's go ahead. Let's start with our loose leaf tea. So I am actually going to make our loose leaf tea, and I've got this little teapot right here. Pull these back so we can see them a little better. All right, so the way I'm going to do this, I have just my little can of loose leaf tea, black tea, with bergamot. It smells absolutely wonderful. And I'm going to just use my demi-tasse spoon. You could really use a measuring spoon. I'm going to put about a tablespoon into my teapot. A little bit more. Okay. So, and then put the lid back on so we don't spill it everywhere. Right here I have hot water. It was brought to a boil, just to the boiling point, and then shut off. I've had this tea kettle for a few years now, and it's really nice for making tea. It's also really nice in the morning when I make French press coffee, and then I don't have a giant coffee pot or have to have a separate tea kettle. I just kind of use all of this. I used to have a big samovar, which was this beautiful thing to make tea. Unfortunately, after several years of use, it doesn't work anymore, but this is what I use now to get hot water, and I love it. It works really well. So we're going to I'm going to do about 2 cups of water into our pot there. And I'm just going to put my lid back on, and I'm going to set it over here for just a few minutes to let that steep. Now, I'm also going to just make just a plain black tea from tea bag. We're going to put it into our little elephant here. And elephants are my kids' favorite animals. So that's why we have this teapot. So I'm just going to put, I'm not going to make a lot, so I'm just going to do one tea bag. These are called pillow tea bags if you've never seen them before, but you probably have. They're pretty common. So I'm just going to put him down in there. And I'm only going to do maybe 8 to 10 ounces of water. In there, not too much. I don't want that much, so I'm not making. And I'm going to use this, my chai glass. I'll show you how to serve it here in a bit. All right, so let's go ahead, put him back over here to steep. And now, while we are waiting for our 2 teapots to steep, let's go ahead and let's do our herbal tea with a tea bag. So it is morning here. Firstly, I had a little uplift. So I am actually going to choose peppermint. So peppermint actually can act as a stimulant, give you a nice little boost naturally, a little less harsh than caffeine. So with my peppermint, I'm just going to take my tea bag, instead of putting him in the teapot, I can just take my tea bag and put it in there. And then for a little bit of tea that I have left on there, give it a good stir with my demi-tasse spoon. And now with peppermint, I would probably add some honey to it. I might add sugar, but usually with the herb tea, I prefer to have some honey. So let's put that over there to cool. And let's come back to our, there. So let's come back to our loose leaf tea. And actually, I think it needs to steep a little while longer. So I'm going to set that there, and we're going to take a few minutes to let that steep, and then we'll come back. Okay, so we've let our teas steep a little bit so they have a good strong flavor. And now we're going to go ahead. I want to show you real quickly. If you'll remember, this teapot we put our loose leaf tea in. So when you go to serve this, you're going to need some type of strainer to make sure that your tea leaves don't get into your tea. Or sometimes people would let the tea leaves go in their tea. They'll float to the bottom. And they used to actually put at the end of their tea, dump them out on the saucer and read tea leaves, read people's future in the tea leaves. It's called hazeography. So if that was something you're interested in, by all means, leave your tea leaves in. But for today, we are going to strain them out with a little strainer. So let's go ahead. Let's pour our tea here. There we go. All right. So we have a nice strong cup of tea, and it smells wonderful. I wish you could smell it. For a tea like this, I would probably add a little bit of sugar. In this, I just have some granulated sugar. You could use sugar cubes as well. And actually, when I was in Germany, and I've never been able to find them since, they make these wonderful rock sugar lumps. I have never seen them since. So if any of you out there have ever seen sugar lumps like that, these wonderful rock sugar lumps, leave me a comment and tell me where to get them, because I've never seen them since, but they were wonderful. So I add a little sugar. Some people might add a little cream. Of course, you can add honey to it if you would like. So that is our loose leaf tea. So far we have our herbal tea, our loose leaf tea. And so now I want to show you, we're going to use our chai glass. Now I'm sure some other people do it different, but most people I know that are inclined to use a chai glass, when the tea is served, it's served with a whole lot of sugar. It's very, very, very sweet. Usually on the stronger side. I've seen people use cream in it, but I don't think that's as common. So we did just a plain black tea in our elephant here, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to pour that in. So, you could probably see maybe a little stronger, but it'll be sufficient. All right. So there you go. 3 different ways to make your tea. Herb tea with a pillow tea bag, black tea with loose leaf tea, and then black tea bag in your chai glass. So I hope you have enjoyed this little film about tea, and I hope that maybe you've learned something. If you like our video, please go give us a like, give us a follow, leave us a comment. And if you find that sugar, let me know, because I'd love to know where I can get some in the US. And thank you for being here. Bye-bye.